Hey, happy Father's Day. Welcome to the circus. Mota Zitabanakis. Welcome into the worst fantasy show. Man, we've got a fucking party tonight. We're drafting Scott Fishbowl 14, and I brought in a whole bunch of cats to do this with me tonight. It's a super kick party. Let's go! We still got one guest coming, but for right now, we got the boys from FF Universe, Aaron St. Denis and SC Romero. We got JC Money Design from Sports Affiliation, and we got Hutch's Touch, Hutchinson Brown holding it down. Welcome to the show, boys.
What's up?
What's going on?
Super.
How's it going, man? Great intro. Love it.
How's it going?
All right. Let's go around the horn. Let's start off with, we're actually going to flip this in reverse before we get into everything. Let's start with Aaron to JC to SC to Hutch. I want to know, what division are you in? What draft spot did you take, like, for real in the real draft? And are there any big names in your division, or are you, like, going to a live one? So, again, Aaron, through.
I honestly had to look it up like 4 minutes ago. I had never looked. I picked my draft slot. I was drafting at the 105 because that's kind of the strategy I'm taking here. I ended up in Michael Myers' division, and it doesn't look like I know anybody that's in this division.
Even better. Meet new people. I love it. I love
That's
that.
right.
JC, what about you?
All right, so yeah, I'm doing a live draft, man. I'm gonna be in Minneapolis. You know, Scott Fish is from here, so we are gonna be doing the Minneapolis live draft, and I am in the Mighty Ducks division, dude. Bash Brothers division. Let's go. We're gonna be doing it hard. We're gonna have some fun. Yeah, live drafts is pretty sweet. I love going to it. This will be my third year at the live draft here in Minneapolis, and it's always been at a different venue. So this year we're at a new venue. It's gonna be a blast. I'm stoked. I'm drafting from the 8th spot. Perfect spot. I love it for the third round reversal. So just kind of see what people are kind of doing. And I'm stoked. I'm ready.
Jack, man, you were right, Jack. The circus is right. I've been on this laptop doing work for 5 hours. Not a noise, not a person. You start the show, it's a goddamn circus behind me. Sorry, bro. People behind me getting shit. I don't even know what's going on. Nobody's been here for the last 6 hours. You hit record, and all of a sudden, I got a goddamn circus behind me.
Dude, my dog is the same way. Every time I start the show, she doesn't want to play all day. And as soon as I start a show, she's like, "All right, you're starting a show. Let's play." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not playing now."
I went to start talking and I heard noise and I looked at my camera and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Holy shit.
Yo, SC, what division are you in? Let's get your division, your draft spot. What's going on with you?
Yeah, man, I'm in the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Barbosa division, so I already made these. Let's go. Pick from the 10th spot, man. This is my first time. I normally go a little bit earlier, but I'm trying something new. So I'm number 10, and let's see how that third round reversal gets for me.
And Hutch?
Yo, so me and my dad actually are together. We're gonna be doing an online draft. I mean, not in person. Last year we got to go in person in New York, but this year we're actually gonna be on a vacation in Europe during all the drafts, so we can't do an in-person one. So we're gonna do offline, and I'm in the Ham division, Ham from Sandlot. We're in that division together. I'm picking at the 12th spot. He's picking at the 2nd spot. And I looked at the division real quick today. I don't see anybody that I know in there. It's mostly fans, fantasy football fans in there. Not many analysts in there. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it will.
Well, I am in the Joker division, homage to how I actually started this whole stupid channel back when I was still the fantasy joker. Back when Aaron actually got me into my first Scott Fishbowl. Shout out to him when he was doing his giveaways last year. So I'm in the Joker division, but I've got some heavyweights in my division. Mike Stoyanov's in there and Jeff Bell's in there. So I've got my work cut out for draft time. I'm excited. But yeah, just, for the sake of argument, if there are beginners out there, because I like to keep it beginner fresh for the show, Scott Fishbowl. What the fuck is Scott Fishbowl? What the hell are we all talking about? It's basically the biggest fantasy football tournament. You guys probably know more about it actually than I do, honestly, because I really learned a lot about it last year, which was my first year. Let's actually flip it. Let's go to Hutch. How many years have you been in Scott Fish? Like, is this your second, third year? And what's your familiarity?
So this is actually going to be my third year in the Scott Fish Bowl, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh, no. Sorry. This is fourth year in Scott Fish Bowl because I was in Scott Fish Bowl 11, 12, 13, and 14. I think this is fourth year. No, wait, no. I'm messing things up. It's either my third or fourth year in the Scott Fish Bowl. I've been in a couple of years. And it's a really intriguing draft because every year the scoring system is completely different. It's not a league where you go in and you know everything. It's like, oh, this is the scoring system. We know it from last year. No. That's not how it works. The scoring systems are wacky and they're different and crazy every single season. I know in our mock draft today, we're probably going to talk a lot about how these different scoring settings, change our strategies every year. And it's just so fun to compete in a big tournament, across the fantasy ball industry to raise money for a good cause. That's actually what Fish Bowl is all about.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to mention that because I think that is what gets lost in the sauce. FantasyCares.org. For everyone watching, especially today on Father's Day. First of all, happy Father's Day to all you guys and to everyone out there watching. But they are doubling donations today. So if you do make a donation today to FantasyCares.org, you can find them on Twitter. And I don't usually do promos and that kind of shit on this show. So this is like a special exception. Make sure you guys go donate. They will double up the donation today. They're trying to get a goal of, I think it was 2,500 I saw on Twitter. So yeah, it would be super appreciative if everyone could go make a quick donation to FantasyCares.org because that's literally like the reason that Scott Fish Bowl actually exists. I think that gets lost in the sauce. And they do great stuff. I think the main thing they do, right, just because I don't know for sure, but they give gifts at Christmas time is like the main thing, but I think they also dabble in other stuff. Let's go to
a lot of toys for tots.
Yeah, JC, Correct. How long have you been in Scott Fish?
This will be my fourth year. The first Scott Fish 11 was it 11? Yeah, we're on 14 now. So I think that was my first year, and I was actually in a what do they call it? It was just like a best ball basically league. It was like I can't remember what do they call it? Satellite league, right? So I did a satellite division. That was my first year, and then I've done 3 live drafts. This will be my third year. It's a great cause, man. This year, I actually went out and picked up a bunch of donations for the Minneapolis division. So that's what I did this year. It's a great cause. People definitely need to get into it. And even if you didn't get into it, I mean, it's a great cause to donate to. I mean, they're doing a lot for kids, and I mean, who doesn't want to do things for kids? I mean, shoot. I mean, you see a lot of stuff that they're doing. Like you see moving trucks getting filled with toys for kids. Like that is huge, man. So I definitely support this. It's a big deal, and they're doing a lot, man. It's something. Even if you don't get in, it's something you should. I just highly suggest it because they're doing a lot of good. So.
Couldn't agree more there. And it's just shout out to Scott Fish, man. He, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was gonna say, I just want to shout out to Scott Fish, man. He hosts this tournament. I mean, runs with Fantasy Cares and everything, and he does. I just want to mention his name because he does fantastic work with them.
And it's not just here in the United States. It's all over, man. And it's worldwide now. It's gonna become a thing where it's even over in Europe, Canada, Mexico. Like it's becoming like a worldwide thing now. So it's amazing.
Aaron, how many years have you been in Scott Fish now?
I think the same. I think my first one was 11, and I was in the satellites in 9 and 10, I think. But can't remember if my first one was 10 or 11, but my first satellite was 9, and my first one was either 10 or 11. But I have yet to make the playoffs. I'm cursed in this league. I can't survive a month with the first 4 picks in my league or my team healthy. Last year I started, I think I had Cup, JT, Kirk Cousins, and my other quarterback was Richardson. And yeah, I was out by like week 7. I'm just like, I quit. I don't care.
I got really lucky. I made it to semifinals last year. A lot of my late picks worked out. It was the opposite. I had Trey McBride, I had Puka, I had A-Shane all on the same team. So, and I had Jordan Love was my quarterback, my breakout quarterback. So I had a pretty good team. Like Herbert struggled and then got hurt, and I picked up someone off waivers. So I didn't make it to like the very end, but couple other things broke my way. I could have. I saved SC for last though, because this is your first Scott Fishbowl, is it not?
No, man, it's actually my third going into it.
I thought. Oh, okay.
But no, I mean,
I've been talking to too many people lately. I mixed it up in my head then with somebody else.
No, good, man.
The first one that they got in. Okay, well, you just got your invite recently, though, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yeah, I was part of the last wave that happened this past week. Blessed to be in it. Scott Fish sent me another one. Ryan helped out a lot. Was in part of the SFB 14 hopefuls. So just thankful to get in. It's a fun cause, man. You meet a lot of great people, right? Everyone that loves to play fantasy football is in this league. So if you're huge into networking, Scott Fish, get into it. There's so many groups going on, whether it's your draft pick, your division, or the hopefuls, or whatever it is. Hashtag SFB 14. You'll see so many beautiful people in it. And yeah, just hitting up on what they did, man. They donate, fantasycares.org. They have great merch on there. You can go buy some shirts. I think they have some hoodies, stuff like that. But this year is movie themed, so this we all said our movies here. But just excited to be in, man. Like Hutch said, the scoring's always different. That's why I'm excited. Last year I was a little spicy with my picking. I went with a lot of like my bold takes to pick my picks. Didn't work out. The first year I was in, I actually made it to the 3rd round of the playoffs, so that was awesome. So hopefully I can try to get the belt this year. There's a lot of heavy hitters, man. All of us are in it, and then tons of heavy hitters in there. So either way, just go in there, man, have a good time, and just have fun, man. It's for a great cause.
Jack, I should have had you. I should have had you bring in Gina, man. Gina Noble. She was like top 10 for a long time. She was up there for a very long time, and she crushed it, dude.
Well, I brought in a heavy hitter myself. We've got one little square missing here. I want to bring in our last guest, the GOAT of Bougie Sports.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Welcome back to the show, Yvette.
You're on mute.
Oh, she's on mute. It's
You're on mute. There you go.
Can't hear.
I think you should be able to unmute her too. I don't know if you can or not.
No, she's deaf. Oh, wait, maybe. Oh, hang on. I'm trying it. I'm clicking it. Nothing's happening. Technical difficulties. Come on. No. Oh, their mic isn't connected, as it says. It says your mic's not connected. That's weird.
Go out and test it. Go out and test it. It happens, man.
Oops.
No.
Nope. Try unplug, plug back in. Here, well, I'll have to text her. That's okay. Technical difficulties going on. We got Sniper Mel in the building.
Let's go. Mel showed up. I love it.
Still muted.
No.
That's all right. The
There it is.
Yes.
you're in there. Sorry, I have to watch my mouth.
That's okay. Victory and success.
OMG.
You
What's
don't.
that?
You're good.
Can you hear me?
No, this is
Yeah.
we hear you now. This is perfect. So we're actually just about to kick the draft off. Before we do, Yvette, can we get your division and draft spot that you have in the Real Scott Fishbowl, and if you're doing live or online?
Sure. Are you sure you can hear me? Because I can't hear myself. Oh wait, yeah, we can.
hear you
We
now.
got you.
All right. Really quick, I love the intro. I said I couldn't be like as cool as Tom Brady when Jay-Z introduced himself. Like when he came in, that was freaking sweet. I tried to be, but my mic wasn't even on, so I'm nowhere near as cool. I'm in the Major League division, Ricky Vaughn, Cleveland Live division. What's up? And excited to be here. We're drafting in like 2 weeks. I can't believe
Wild
it.
thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's right around the corner.
That's
So I
right.
was supposed to have a graphic, and that's like the only thing I think I managed to mess up so far on this show is I do not have the graphic up. But the scoring for Scott Fish, pretty funky this year. There is 0.25 for carries.
I have it right in front of me if you need it.
Okay, go ahead and list off, Hutch.
Yeah, so I have the notes here right in front of me. So for passing, it's 1 point per 50 yards, which is pretty wacky. And then when you look at the rushing, you get 0.5 per first down for a rushing first down, and then you get 0.25 per rush attempt. And then on the receiving side of the ball, you get 0.5 per first down as well. And then when you look at receptions, for quarterbacks, kickers, running backs, it's half PPR. For a wide receiver, it's full PPR. And for tight ends, it's 1.5 PPR. And then tight ends get an extra point per first down, making them extremely valuable. And then kicking is fun as well. 3.3 points per extra point made. And then it's decimal scoring bonus for a field goal. So a 37-yard field goal, 3.7 fantasy points.
Yeah. I think
on
kicking's
special-
the same as it was last year. I think
Yes.
the biggest thing is like tight ends are almost a little bit more than they were last year. You're getting
Right,
that
tight
big
end.
bonus for first downs, per catch. You're getting that extra bonus. It was close to it last year, but I think you're getting a little bit more this year. It's almost like a 10-point play is like, or a 10-yard play is like 3 points. So like
It's insane. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty heavy, and it's crazy because I drafted in one before, and I didn't see a lot of tight ends go, which was very like in
Interesting.
the first couple rounds. It was very, and I drafted against people like Jim Coventry, and it was
Wow.
I saw a lot more. It's going to be wide receiver heavy this year because there's a lot of catches. Going to
But
be rushing
Scott
forward.
Fish is always one though. Like come draft day, your whole draft strategy could get thrown out the window because we're saying all the right receivers, right? But it's also a super flex. So
Yep.
how are people gonna gauge that as far as are they gonna raise up on the quarterbacks and your wide receivers fall? The running backs have some value too. I know everyone's on those tight ends, but man, you have a guy like CMC healthy all season. That's some money too. So
Yeah, he's heavy. I think it is the quarterbacks of the 50 yards, man. The 1 point for 50 yards, that's definitely going to push a little of them quarterbacks a little bit more down who just pass.
for sure.
All right, so let's get this
Is
show
our host
on
gone,
the road. Let's kick us off.
or is it just me?
Yvette. What's that?
I think it's him. I think your
think
screen
it's
blanked
him.
on him or something.
Yeah, let's
Aaron,
start.
Oh yeah.
Yvette with the 101. Where are you going?
Josh Allen, smart girl. I love it.
I'm on the train that Josh Allen is not finishing at the quarterback one this year. So
In this
why are you?
I'm in agreement with you.
Why
It doesn't mean
Yvette-
he has to finish as the quarterback one. We're just talking about the Scott Fish Bowl, and in the Scott Fish Bowl, you guys were talking about like passing quarterbacks are not as valuable, right? I didn't want to take Josh Allen here. I wanted to take Pat that's who I wanted to take was Pat Mahomes. But I was going back and forth, and this is a mock draft, and I'm just going to see what happens when I do take Josh Allen. The other person I was thinking about is CMC, but that's. Like, again, this is a mock draft, right? So I'm going to see what happens when I take Josh Allen with the 101, which I probably will happen in real life.
Yeah,
Let's not lie. Let's not lie.
To the Christian McCaffrey debate, I did look back. I was able to put together a sleeper league that I put all the Scott Fish Bowl scoring in there. Shout out to Ronnie Evans. He actually gave me that idea to put all the Scott Fish Bowl scoring into a sleeper league. Yeah, shout out to Ronnie. He's a really smart guy. He put it into MFL. I put it into sleeper because I like sleeper the app better. I put it in. Christian McCaffrey was the highest scoring player last year in terms of this year's Scott Fish Bowl scoring. So that's I would take personally if I was the 101, I would probably lean Christian McCaffrey, even though quarterback and superflex is so valuable.
Questions, this open question. First for off the board. Do y'all see that happening in Scott Fish? 3 elite rushing quarterbacks, the untouchable fantasy god in Christian McCaffrey. I think that's pretty solid in any direction they can go. I think that's pretty nice.
Yeah, the first few quarterbacks, and then Christian McCaffrey is probably how it should start. But yeah, that's a solid start.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I think that's pretty chalk. Is the rushing quarterbacks? I considered CMC, but I went with Jalen Hurts because of the rushing quarterback upside again.
Mm-hmm.
CD,
Yeah, I thought
okay.
about it. I love Lamb this year, man. But I thought about another quarterback here. We'll see if he goes. But there's a quarterback that I really, really like here.
He's not making it past me, bud. There's no chance.
You're
I
talking
know
about
you're
Rich.
talking about. There's no chance.
No, I would have took him here, but I think that there's just CeeDee Lamb, dude. CeeDee Lamb is that guy who could finish number one receiver this year. So I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna take him over Justin Jefferson this year. Like it's pretty much between him and Hill, just because we saw. I mean, Hill got a little bit banged up last year, right? And he was going for that 2,000 yards. And the reason, same thing is people are drafting McCaffrey so high is because this was his second time ever going, for 2,000 yards, all-purpose yards, right? So you're kind of hoping for that to happen again, right? And I think he's in a situation where it can happen, but that's what you're hoping for CMC. If he can get that 2,000 all-purpose yards, he can finish as that number one guy. But that's what you got to really hope for. I'm gonna, I'm happy with Lamb, dude. Lamb's the guy who I think can be finished as that number one wide receiver in in that PPR league. I'm good with it.
Why are not enough people talking about Breece Hall? Everyone's on CMC. Breece Hall had more receptions last year. He hasn't hit 1,000 yards rushing yet. Aaron Rodgers is back, so there's going to be some pressure taken off him. Breece Hall could be the monster this year that people are thinking CMC is actually going to be.
I think what it is people might be nervous about them drafting 2 more running backs this year. So they might be a little bit nervous about that. I am not nervous about that. I love Breece, dude. I'm all about trying to go get me some Breece Hall this year. And we knew what he was going to be. We saw it in year 1 when after he got hurt. You're like, holy shit, the first couple of games, he took the hell off. You're like, this guy's great. And then he got hurt. You're like, no.
Right.
I can hear he did great.
Bijan, man, personally. Yvette, who do you have besides? Who would be your number one running back if CMC was off the board?
Breece.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to go back to the wide receiver debate and just say that I think I would take Tyreek Hill before CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson. I'm just saying that's just me. But
Tyreek just tends to get banged up because he's so small. He just gets. You see, Lamb is just somebody who goes out there and he finishes as 1 or 2, or 2 or 3, right? Almost every year. I love me some, and Dak. Dak wasn't out there, the whole time. So I want to see, a full Dak Prescott. And we got to think about this. Dak Prescott's in a year where he is playing for his contract. He is playing for that contract. So
I think I got some heebie-jeebies about the Cowboys, but I feel like I get that every year. Like last year, I just was kind of out on them, and then they surprised me, except the running game still sucked, which is what I thought it would. But I don't think is there ever been a wide receiver that's repeated number 1? I don't think so.
I don't think so ever. I actually don't think it's ever happened.
So, yeah, I don't hate the Tyreek call out. And I also think you can get the stack just as easily with Tua later on that you can with Dak. And JC, you're back on the board here. So just going through the board a little bit. After the Tyreek auto draft, we saw the Breece and Bijan. I love Bijan. I actually love him ahead of Breece personally. Hutch, you took Kyler Murray and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, those are pretty chalk picks. I think those are also great picks. I love Kyler, especially this year.
This year, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at Kyler. I mean, Kyler personally to me is a top 5 quarterback this year. And when you consider the rushing and the upside he carries as a rusher, and when you consider that with the Scott Fishbowl scoring, it makes it easy to consider him a top 5 quarterback. So when he fell to me at this spot, I was very easily going his way. I was really hoping I'd get Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall. When both those guys went in front of me, 1 and 10 and 11, that really was unfortunate. I was really hoping to get one of those stud running backs. But I'm very happy with Amon-Ra St. Brown because as a result of the running backs going, he fell to me, and I was very pleased with that.
Well,
I was debating between
going ahead of Kyler Murray a lot, so I think that's the only thing that I would say I'm a little surprised by is. So do you have Kyler Murray ranked like superior to Anthony Richardson then?
Yes, I would. Yeah. I mean, when you look at, I personally, when I see him as a more like Anthony Richardson, we are projecting him to be a top 5 quarterback. We're projecting that dominant rushing season. Kyler's already done it. Each of his past 4 seasons, he's finished top 8 in points per game. And just a couple years back, he was a top 3 quarterback in fantasy points per game and in fantasy points overall because he was healthy. And now this year, he is arguably one of the best receiving rooms ever had. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4th overall pick. Trey McBride, an elite stud tight end who broke out last year. I'm very excited to see what he can do with those two guys. And also, they're good running backs too. They got 2 really solid receiving backs with Trey Betts and James Conner, both guys that can make an impact in the receiving game.
I think the only thing I worry about with Kyler is injury has just been something that's the last 3 years has been rough for him.
Yeah, that's the only thing you got to worry about with him. That's it though, and I'll take that risk all day.
Hey man, I love him. I'm on him.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, I was between Amon-Ra and Brees Hall with that first pick, and I was like, man, if I don't get Brees, I know Hutch will probably get him if he's there, so I have to take him first.
Yeah. I was probably gonna grab him. Yeah.
And then with Anthony Richardson, I think that's gonna be a question for the later picks is if you want to take that risk on Anthony Richardson. You know what I mean? We know he's gone hurt before. Jonathan Taylor is also there. Will that ruin his rushing upside? So that's a big part in the quarterback that's probably gonna slip, and then it's gonna be up to you in those later picks to say, do you want to take that risk on him?
I'm gonna tell you that's who I was thinking between Lamb and Richardson. I am very high on Richardson this year. You know, we saw what Pittman can be with Minshew, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw what he actually did with Richardson game 1.
Yvette, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally thinking.
There's someone you really, I like
Richardson, man. I'm
after Richardson went Burrow, and then JC got the Dak CD stack. We saw Laporta go. We saw AJ Brown go. Aaron got that beautiful Mahomes Kelsey stack. Very underrated this year.
It did.
All right, that's okay because that's who I was going to take, and that's
okay.
I wasn't going to take him first.
Oh, it's third round.
I'll take that, and then
I don't mind that at all. Jordan Love, man. Jordan Love.
Solid.
Wait, why can't I pick my other person?
Turn your auto pick. It's third round reversal.
Third round reversal.
So before I make this pick, I just want to say I'm going to make Hoove really happy here. I'm going to be honest. I was considering selecting this guy at the top of the second round because he's my tight end 1 overall this year. I'm very high on him. And with tight end scoring, I'm extremely emphatic about getting tight ends. But I noticed in the draft, there was no tight ends in the first, and it didn't seem like people were going to be super high on tight ends. So I waited, and I won. I'm going to take Trey McBride, my tight end 1. I'm going to make Hoove, who's in the comments here, very, very happy. He's my tight end 1 this year.
I'm going to tell you right now, I hope Trey McBride is that good because I have a lot of his cards, man. I am very high on him, too. He is a PC for me. I have some autographs from him, rookie autographs. I really hope he takes off. I am very high on him, too. Love it, Hutch.
So with this pick, it would definitely depend on if I go quarterback. I was thinking about punching quarterback, but it's super flex. You want to at least try to get an elite one. But here, speaking on Hutch, we see the tight ends kind of going. I want one of these elite guys. I think Kincaid's about to have this breakout. He's the best receiver that they have in there, and he already has some side of chemistry with Josh Allen. He can have a big season overall. So I really like that, especially with that scoring. I'm surprised he's there in the third round for me.
Man, do I hate these auto picks because I guarantee he would not have taken Jahmyr Gibbs. So I would have taken Jahmyr Gibbs here. I guarantee that guy would not have.
Yeah.
So now I have to pivot.
Is my auto pick turned off? Can you tell me?
No, you got it now. You're good.
I'm still mad about the Jordan Love pick. I doesn't feel like mine. So, but I'll take it. I was thinking about him, but.
Hey, in the super flex, that's not bad. You're locked in for quarterback now, though. You got Love and Allen. I'm going to take
John Kincaid. That's who I was thinking about.
Well, there you go.
Well, I guess it's a mock draft, so I'll see what happens when I do.
Even if Rodgers doesn't play there, I'm going to go Garrett Wilson because we see that Garrett Wilson is somebody who is just like Brandon Cooks, who can still put up 1,000 yards with whoever the hell's throwing to him.
You brought up Gibbs. Gibbs was actually one of the guys I was looking at when I took Richardson, but I was like, I don't feel like double dipping at the running back there, so I took him somewhere else.
I mean, I'm Gibbs, man. The upside of him this year.
Oh, number 1 overall.
Yeah, he
100%. No. Number 1 overall. Yeah.
No.
There. It definitely could happen. I mean, I'm not saying it will.
Top 5, I could see. But
definitely top 5. 100% top 5.
Now, Gibbs could definitely get to RB1 overall. I mean, we saw last year he was a top 3 running back in points per game for a good stretch because he started to take over the goal line carries, the inside the 5, inside the 10 that David Montgomery used to get a lot early in the season. And Gibbs was getting a heavier and heavier workload in the running game. If we see, because there's already been rumors floating this offseason, 2 big things have happened for Detroit so far, as Rumorville-wise. They've been talking up Jamison Williams, how he's going to be involved, and they've also been hyping up Jahmyr Gibbs for a heavier workload in the receiving game. I looked at some stats recently on PFF. According to PFF, all of Jahmyr Gibbs' targets, every single one of them was within 10 yards. Every single one. Yeah. Either behind the line of scrimmage or within 10 yards. And there have been a lot of hype that we're going to use Jahmyr Gibbs more creatively this year. If that were to happen, that's not only going to expand that's not going only to shoot up his upside because he can get some big catches down the field because he's got the speed. He can work downfield. If you put him one-on-one with a linebacker, he's going to cook him all day. There is so much upside if they truly expand his role in the receiving game and give him that running workload that he was seeing last year. RB1 overall is definitely within his range of outcomes. Don't let David Montgomery scare you. Jahmyr Gibbs gets plenty of volume.
I'll buy the Gibbs hype. I'm not buying the Jamison Williams hype.
I'm not buying it either. I'm not buying it.
Dude, I love it.
It's one of those we do it all off season, right? Let's see it, and then I'll start buying it more. But no, Gibbs, I agree, man. He's such a versatile bat that they can plug him in wherever. The biggest issue that he could fall into is, he has other competition in Laporta and Amon-Ra. So really, what's that going to do? Will that eat into any of his production? But he, again, athlete, top 5. I mean, he's definitely in the top 5 there. So.
I love hearing that.
Aaron, I like your build so far. You've been quiet over there. You went super old and then super young with the Mahomes-Kelsey stack and then hit us with some Marvin Harrison Jr.
These Scott Fishbowl mocks never make any sense because we're 38 picks in and that's the 14th quarterback to go off the board. Everyone's got lots of balls when they're not on the clock in the real draft, but nobody punts quarterback this much. It happens every mock draft I've done. Everyone punts quarterback because they don't have to live with it. But when you're in Scott Fishbowl and you're staring like Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers as your QB1 in the face, suddenly nobody has as much guts and they start drafting earlier. So.
Yeah. My QB1 last year ended up being CJ Stroud because I punted quarterbacks so much. I'm not saying do that for your rookies this year, but I didn't make the playoffs last year either, so that wasn't really a bold strategy. So, but then again, if you're getting some solid guys, Scott Fishbowl, you can't trade. There's no trades, right? So it's biggest. You gotta be active on the waiver wire. You can win at your draft if you have a pretty flawless draft. It comes with injuries, all that kind of stuff, but you just have to play it smart. And 2 quarterbacks starting. If you're not starting 2 quarterbacks, you better have an elite wide receiver, running back, or tight end in that super flex spot.
And I think what's really crazy about it too is there's a ton. You have all these flex spots, right? I think it's like start 1 RB, start 1 wide receiver, 2 wide receivers, something like that, and then it's just
like 5 flexes,
ton of flexes. Remember PPR league, points per reception. So I'm going heavy. I'm playing this as like almost a best ball. I'm going to go heavy receiver, probably get a tight end that's good early, and not early, but somebody that's decent, and then probably grab someone later.
Is anybody on here playing on MFL instead of Sleeper?
No.
I'll tell you, the first year I did this, I was on MFL, and by about round 10, I was drafting nothing but kickers. I was starting 3-4 kickers a week. It doesn't work on Sleeper when you can only start a kicker, but on MFL, you can flex a kicker, and they're way better than any of the receivers and running backs in that range.
My whole theory is I'm just going to pick whoever I want because I don't even understand the rules on this game. And I just think it's about having fun. And that's the most important thing. I think we can go back and forth and debate all this. And it doesn't really matter at the end. It's just about having fun, and it's for charity. And that's what I'm here for. So, but I'm loving it. Listen, I'm loving it though. Listen to what you guys are saying.
No, 100%. It's all about having fun, giving to charity, it's the camaraderie. That's the best thing about, Scott Fishbowl is, you're not really playing against your division. You kind of are, but you're really playing against everybody. So that's like, you can go out, talk a little fun shit, and see where people end up. Like I said, my amazing friend Gina Noble, she ended up finishing she was top 10 for the longest time. We're like, holy shit. And it was her first year. She absolutely dominated. You're like, wow, whoa, let's go. And it's fun to see that too. People that just kind of jump in and do this fun stuff.
you have a good time with your division. I encourage everyone to figure out on an X or Discord, what your draft position is and join that chat, because there's a chat with everyone drafting 3rd overall, 2nd overall. That's a great time because, at the end you're discussing strategy, like, all right, I'm going here. Would y'all do this, stuff like that? But then also you're meeting some new friends within the industry there as well that, potentially do some shows within the later in the future there as well. So overall, it is just all about fun and getting it, when it comes to the drafts, we never know what's going to happen until the season anyways, right? So we'd be like, oh, we have the best team here. And then, week 1, Aaron Rodgers 2 plays in, so anything could happen. So, I mean, bottom concept, just have a good time.
Shoot. Last year, like you see Kelsey going like 1st, 2nd, 3rd overall, but the Philly division, dude, he was going like 8, 9. Like people didn't want to draft him because he's people in Philly like fuck that shit. Like no, you're like whoa.
I think the tournament, this should be the tournament where you do fun things, where you do like take chances on luck. For sure.
I got it.
It works out too. It does work out.
Because it's so early in the year too, so you can always say, "I didn't know." Like, blame it on the rain.
Hutch, did you get it in time? Yeah. Hey.
I did. I was making a tough choice. I had 2 players I really, really wanted, and I was hovering a little bit, but I got it in. Yeah, Mike Evans.
I really like Mike Evans. I like the Mike Evans pick. There's some.
How can you not? He's 1,000-yard receiver almost every year.
I think Big Draft Energy, shout out to him in the comments. He was asking if I'm smoking the devil's lettuce. The answer is yes, my friend, always. I'm assuming
let's go.
I'm assuming he was mad at my Tua pick. And after Tua, who, by the way, just got Malik Washington, Jalen Wright, Jonas Smith, and a bunch of other weapons added to Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and his running backs there. Devontae Adams, Drake London, Justin Herbert, Derrick Henry, the King, Rashad White, Brandon Ayuk, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, David Njoku. Jaden Daniels is the rookie quarterback that Hutch took while he was also making business decisions on Mike Evans. Kirk Cousins, Kirk O'Chains, Pittman, DJ Moore, Pacheco, my guy Fergie Licious, Brock Bowers, and we're back to Aaron. That's the draft board as it stands.
JC,
what are your favorite picks out of the ones we just mentioned?
I just wanted to go to JC real quick. I mean, I just want to say Isaiah Pacheco was the one I was considering between Mike Evans and him. It was really, really tough. I was just looking down the board and thinking, man, I think there's some running back value you can get later here, but I really wanted Mike Evans, the guy who I think can be another wide receiver 1. But I love that Pacheco pick. It was really
I want to give you guys some very good advice here. You need to, I mean, it is best ball stuff, and I do love best ball because there's some things you can learn from it for value. Go talk Big Disco, man, Big Draft Energy. Follow him. Go watch some of his stuff because, like, I've learned a lot. Like, there's so much value at running back this year because everybody is almost running back.
Oh yeah, so much.
If you almost like the value you can find at running back, because I've done a couple of drafts and I'm just like, I hate the receivers so late. Like, there's not great receivers. You don't feel confident.
It falls off.
CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. Are you not okay with those 3 wide receivers that are like consistently like I'm stoked about that. And then Pacheco is my RB1. Cool. I'm great with that.
Does the fact that running backs get points, was it a quarter point per carry, play into effect in what you're looking for? Like, Derrick Henry, we know.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, like you want those workhorses, but if you can't find a workhorse, find a guy who can catch the ball, find a guy who's going to get a lot of opportunity. Like, that's almost like now what I'm looking for. Like, I'm going to grab a bunch of receivers who I know are they're going to catch a shit ton of balls. They're going to do a lot with the ball after the catch. Like, I want that. And if I can find that in the first 3 rounds, like I'm solid with, like I said, Dak this year, I'm good with him. Like, if he can finish as a top 6 quarterback, right, which he probably could be, he's fighting for his job. He's literally fighting for his job. So why can't he finish top 5? So I'm fine with that. And then having 3 solid receivers and a now potential running back who can finish in the top 10, cool. I'm grabbing that at the 4th round.
And that's why I love the 10th pick, because I feel one of those top 3 elite, Bijan Brees or CMC, is falling to you there. So you lock up that spot to have your workhorse, plus some guys that can catch the ball. But then if not, then what? I'm getting Tyreek Hill, CD, maybe Stroud. So you're getting still an elite player, and plus that 3rd round reversal plays a big pack in the fact that, I can get a quarterback or tight end, whatever falls to me in the 2nd, and then in the 3rd round reversal, pick it up as there as well. So it's I think the running backs, I think we might see them go a little bit higher in real drafts than they were in mocks, because once people start looking at the score and be like, oh snap, these carries do play some points into it, I want a guy that's gonna get at least 150 touches.
At least if you have, like, if you're going that, like hero RB, you can still, like, I got a hero RB in the 5th round,
Right, for sure.
So I mean, I'm fine with that. I have some solid receivers. Like, even if receiver goes down, like if a running back goes down, I feel like there's so many people that are fading running back this year that you can, like, wait. And I kind of learned that from Disco, big draft energy. I wouldn't even thought about that, because I'm that guy who's like, I want big running backs. But guess what happened? Last year I had Nick Chubb. How did that do for me? It hurt the hell out of me.
Nick Chubb got hurt because they attacked him.
I loved him so
on purpose.
Much. Last year, I was so high on him. I was like, dude, come on now. You can't.
Yeah.
You had to know Brown slander was going to trigger her. What are you thinking, man?
Don't you dare talk about Nick Chubb.
Speaking on Chubb, though, I mean, it was valuable to have a cuff like Jerome Ford. Is there a running back here where you're like, if I get him, I'm gonna make sure I'm getting the cuff at a later round as well?
That's a good question.
Elijah Mitchell, because CMC's on the Madden cover.
Are you getting Elijah, or are you going after Garando?
No, I'm going Elijah.
Overhyped rookie.
Elijah Mitchell. I'm not really doing that. I was just being funny, but Elijah Mitchell, if I was going to do that. Although in Scott Fishbowl, you're going 22 rounds deep, so you pretty much draft anyone who ever puts on a uniform this year. But
hey, Aaron, my last pick overall last year, you want to know who it was? Zach Moss.
That was a good one.
Yep.
Nice.
I mean, you can find value.
Well, value at running back. I feel like there's more value laid at wide receiver. Like, I think everybody's wrong. I'm going high T. I'm grabbing my running backs early that I believe in, because I don't want to mess around with Zach Moss again and all these jabroni running backs. Like, I want to have a solid
round
3 to 5 stud
it doesn't
that I'm going to put in my lineup. And I'll go get Javon Baker and Roman Wilson and a bunch of dudes late that are going to inevitably break out at wide receiver. It's so deep this year at wide receiver. I just got DK Metcalf at 5'11". Like, what are we talking about?
I see a really, really, really good wide receiver left. It's very ignorant that he's there, to be honest.
This is an Amari Cooper.
Yeah, like
yes.
Right now.
That's every year, though. Nothing.
I feel like there's so much value at wide receiver, and then the running back fall off is just disgusting. Like, we're already into like the Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones range of things. Like Najee Harris just went off the board. Like, ooh.
But here's what the thing is.
Don't sleep on Najee, bro.
Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins go about the same, like 5 picks away from each other. Who is going to be the guy? They didn't have Stephon Diggs there trying to take. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a Stephon Diggs fan because I'm a Minnesota fan, and I know how much of a piece of crap he is and how much of a diva he is. But he's still going to take a ton of targets away from these guys. So you don't know now. Now you really don't know who the guy is. And I still think
a hot take.
It's Tank Dell, regardless.
Can I throw a hot take? Tank Dell's gonna be a top 12 receiver this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's Dell.
Tank Dell's gonna be a top 12 receiver in this year of fantasy.
Stroud already talked about his connection with Dell is like this. They're like
that connection with Dell is insane. He will be a top 12 receiver this year in fantasy. He is going to be the number 1 in targets. And the only reason Nico Collins had that stretch is because Tank Dell got hurt. Nico Collins and Tank Dell, when they were on the field together, Tank Dell was just barely outpacing him in fantasy as a rookie. Nico Collins was a third-year player. And Stephon Diggs, I get it. He's a great player, but he is on a 1-year vet. He's on a 1-year deal. He's an older vet. And if he's making noise like he usually does, they're just going to look away from him, and they're not going to look for him. Tank Dell and Cedar Stroud's connection is too good. He's going to be a top 12 receiver this year. Fantasy.
Yeah,
I'm so ecstatic. I got to get
Stephon
him
Diggs
at that
before
spot.
Amari Cooper. I don't understand that.
What's that?
Like, Stephon Diggs got drafted before Amari Cooper. Why? Is it still the Deshaun Watson hate? Or I just don't understand the George Pickens. I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. I just don't get it. So disrespectful.
Jerry Jeudy holds more value, takes away more value from Amari Cooper than Dell or Nico take away from Diggs.
No way.
Jerry Jeudy hasn't done.
No chance.
No, because he's still people.
He hasn't even
are
passed
heavy on
1,000 yards in his career. Like, he hasn't done shit. He's not gonna walk
But-
in and just take value away from Amari Cooper.
But I'm saying more value than what Nico or Dell take away from Diggs, because Diggs is still an elite wide receiver to some, no? So that's why he still has some value there, and people are still heavy on him for it. Judy, regardless of what he is, people know he can do great things. It might be the coaching is a new area, a good thing for him. Diggs has proven time and time again, doesn't matter the team, he's an elite guy. And now you have arguably a top 5 quarterback throwing to him. They want this kind of attention there. Houston's building a different culture around that. They want this attention to say, hey, we are the AFC South. Look at our quarterback. We have a good running back in Joe Mixon now. We also brought an elite wide receiver. Stroud is about to feed this. Stroud is played with elite wide receivers at Ohio State. He knows how to feed the ball with these guys. He played with all these top guys, and now you bring in another elite guy. I mean, I think the value or the scare is more for Amari Cooper, and you could bring on Watson. Watson too. Is the shoulder injury really a big deal? Is that something that affects his game? If so, people are going to sleep on the Browns and they're going to pull away from them, like you see Cooper doing. Judy coming in is a big thing because there was no secondary receiver. Elijah Moore.
I don't think that's a good. I just don't see Judy being an argument, because when there's so many more people in Houston to go against with Stephon Diggs, he has more people to go against than Amari Cooper and Judy.
Yeah,
Whatever. It's disrespectful, and I'm calling it right now. The fact that Stephon Diggs was drafted before Amari Cooper, let it be known. I'm right. I'm taking a screenshot of this so we can go back in the next year.
Yvette, you're on the board here. I want to talk about the run of gross running backs that went, and why I'm happy I went high T, because I didn't have to worry about drafting one of these jabronis: Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, James Conner.
He's called Kenneth Walker a jabroni? Come on now.
Ken Walker.
It's hateful.
Let's see him actually stay healthy for a season. But my 2 wide receivers, after going high T, I get to start with DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. Okay, sure. Like the wide receiver, those are 2 1 wide receivers in their offenses. I will take that. Those are 2 guaranteed guys that are going to have 1,000-yard seasons. Like,
so you got a guy with
easy peasy.
You have Terry McLaurin, who is a number 1 receiver in an offense.
Terry McLaurin has done it with the most worst quarterbacks. I will take a rookie up. The rookie is an upgrade over what Terry McLaurin's had his career.
I mean, when you look, though, I mean, Terry McLaurin over the last couple of years, he's been borderline a wide receiver too over the last couple of years with the quarterback play, and it has been bad. And Jaden Daniels could be an upgrade. When you look at the history of rookie quarterbacks, especially one of Jaden Daniels, who had a lot of worries as a passer coming out of college, he's mostly, drafted super high because of his rushing, similar to how Anthony Richardson was. I would be very concerned about him as a receiver. I would not be confident as a top 24 wideout this year. Wide receiver 1 of his offense, definitely, sure, you can say that, but will it be top 30? There's no guarantee there. There's no guarantee.
I like T. Yeah, I agree.
I'll put up 1,200. Terry's putting up 1,207 this year. That's like block stock.
No chance.
Barrel.
No. No.
I think I'd rather take Dotson at value than McLaurin.
Yeah, I like Terry. I'll meet you guys in the middle. I don't think he'll be that good, but I think he's gonna be good.
You got Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, and
will he be better than Amari Cooper? No.
Tight end is also a fullback. Like, I'm sorry, Scary Terry's gonna soak up 130 to 150 targets.
I think Jaden's gonna run the shit out of that ball.
He's gonna have 7-ish touchdowns. Like, he's just gonna be the guy. Jaden Daniels is gonna fixate on 2 people in this offense, and it's gonna be Terry 1, and it's gonna be Dotson 2. It's a downgrade from what he was just doing with BTJ and Neighbors.
Sleeper alert: 2 rookie tight ends, Ben Sinnott and Dallin Holker. Just saying their names.
Great.
Yeah, dude,
I'll go back to
I like this.
Ben Sinnott.
I just kind of want to know.
Sleeper. But I want to go back to the Terry McLaurin discussion.
When I think jabronis too, I mean, like, they're guys for sure. There's no way James Conner's making it through a whole season. DeAndre Swift, I think most people would agree, probably not going to make it through a whole season. Kenneth Walker hasn't made it through a whole season. Alvin Kamara, I still like Alvin Kamara, but he's clearly on the decline on a crap team that's going nowhere. It's like, compared to the guys that went earlier, like compared to an ETN, compared to a James Cook, compared to CMC, Derrick Henry, like, those guys are so obvious, and now you're getting into guys with huge question marks and we're in the 7th round. And then in the same range, starting wide receiver Terry McLaurin, starting wide receiver DK Metcalf, starting wide receiver Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel. I know like they're getting older, but so are those same running backs.
Yeah,
James Conner, same thing.
But I want to go back to your Terry McLaurin discussion for a second, though, because you said, hold on, you said Terry McLaurin will soak in 130, 150 targets this year, right? And then he'll be great. So, I mean, looking at what he's done the last 3 years, he's been a borderline wide receiver 2 in pretty much each of the past 3 seasons, and he's soaked in 132, 120, 130 targets. And this has been with quarterbacks who are crazy hyper targeting him. But now he has a quarterback in Jayden Daniels who we have no idea what his tendencies are. We have no idea if he's going to hyper target anything. And he's a rookie quarterback, which is far more concerning than a veteran.
Sam Howell was like the top 5.
Those were quarterbacks that were throwing it all over the lot, and Terry McLaurin was doing what he could with what he was getting. It wasn't the same thing as like a Jayden Daniels, who I think can be better and more efficient than those guys. Like when you talk about Sam Howell was just throwing it up 50 times a game, which is fine. That looks great on paper, but I will take like 30 passes from Jayden Daniels in a more efficient system. And if 10 of those go to Terry McLaurin, then you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm looking at it. It's not necessarily just the pure numbers of, well, yeah, some backup quarterback or a guy who is a backup quarterback now in Seattle, who again was just throwing up 40, 50 passes a game.
Dude, wasn't he like
Barry
a fifth?
Can go out there throw 40, 50 passes a game too in Denver, and it's going to inflate the numbers of those wide receivers this year. But it's not going to make no difference to fantasy when you have other guys that are in more efficient offenses.
Didn't Sam Howell have like the most passing yards in the NFL?
Yeah, he was leading the league in passing yards for a while. I mean,
he had like most passing yards in the NFL.
You can say anything you want about Sam Howell, but he was top 5 in passing yards, and for the games he played, he was. I mean, Terry McLaurin saw 132 targets last year, man. That's a very good target share, and we're still looking at
on 10 seconds.
Oh wait, what? Oh shoot!
I didn't know the only one that got auto dropped.
I had my cue. Don't worry about it. I had my cue. And then,
I agree. Like the amount of top 5 and pass yards is insane, and to say that he's a backup quarterback, I think that Geno Smith needs to be worried because with the amount of talent that Sam Howell has there, I'd say it's better than what he had in Washington.
So, Hutch, I'm curious because your RB1 is Zamir White, and you took him over Kamara, Walker, Swift, and Connor.
Yes.
Why is that?
So when you look at yeah, sure, I'll gladly talk about it. I mean, when you look at the 4 players that went behind him, you talk about Connor, Swift, Walker, Kamara. I mean, Connor, he's competing with Trey Benson this year, the 3rd round pick. First day of the 3rd round pick, and he's a talented player. And I think by the end of the season, he'll likely have the lead on the backfield, if not week 1. You know, James Conner was good last year, but he's aging out. He's been an injury-prone running back. He's never even played a full season. So I'd bet on Trey Benson taking over by the end of the season. And you can't trade in this league, so you can't sell him high. You're just gonna have to be stuck with Connor at the end. And I don't want a player who's gonna suck at the end of the season. I want a player who's gonna play the full season and be great. And then look at DeAndre Swift. Obviously, he was great in Philly last year, but I'm thinking he's going to have more of a Miles Sanders effect when that Miles Sanders moved to Carolina. Miles Sanders had a beautiful season in Philadelphia. He was so efficient, so great, but then he moves to Carolina, and it sucks. I think the offensive line and the offense around DeAndre Swift was what carried him for fantasy last year, and I think in Chicago, we're going to see less production because the offensive line is so horrifically bad, and we're also dealing with a rookie quarterback. Kenneth Walker, you got Zach Charbonnet to deal with, and you got a mediocre offense with a mediocre quarterback. I'm not the biggest fan. He's been a borderline RB2 the last 2 seasons, and he's been fine. But I just don't see the upside because he doesn't catch the ball very well. And then Kamara, really good fantasy season last year off of gross, disgusting passing volume. But I don't think – I think with him aging out, I'd rather not take the shot on him. I'm also a big believer in Kendrick Miller after an injury-plagued rookie season. I think he could bounce back. With Zamir White, he was a day 2 pick just a couple years ago. And last season, at the end of the year, he showed some real juice. He took a workhorse role for a span of 6+ weeks and was dominant with it. So much better than Josh Jacobs was at any point last season. And it's Antonio Pierce. We know he wants to run the football. And they had the opportunity to sign so many different people this year. They signed nobody. I mean, nobody. Alexander Madison is a nobody. He's not going to compete with Zamir White for the role. Zamir White is built to be a workhorse back. He can catch the football. Not amazing, but he can catch the football. He was receiving about 3 targets per game towards the end of the season in that last 6-game stretch. I'm looking at him thinking, man, there's so much opportunity here to be a workhorse back. And with the points per carry, points per first down volume that you get here, that is so juicy. So I'm taking Zamir White over those guys in the 7th round. Because with Scott Fishbowl, man, you're in a big tournament. You got to shoot for the ceiling. You got to shoot for the upside. Zamir White has an opportunity to be a top 10 running back in fantasy football. And I want to say like top 6 because that workhorse volume in that offense could really do something. So I'm looking at Zamir White thinking, man, he's got that upside.
I love that, Hutch. And you don't know who the quarterback's going to be, right? We don't know if it's going to be, you know.
True. That's a big concern with Zamir White. You don't know the quarterback.
Right? We got 2 mustaches there competing for the throne.
But both can dump off. Both have shown they're willing to dump off.
We saw what Zach Moss was with Minshew. I mean, we can see what they are. Minshew, like he'll run in a couple here and there, but he likes to either hand it off or throw it to the. And you see he does throw it to the running back. So I do like that, Hutch. That's a good call.
I think biggest thing for Zamir, I think he
for comedy purposes, too. I desperately hope Alexander Madison actually does beat him out for the job. Because
my God, you even saying his name.
Madison. I'm putting that in
the world in Minnesota.
That is just me wanting to watch the world turn.
Sorry.
That's not. No,
I like
it
too. Yvette.
That would genuinely shock me so much, honestly.
Dude,
I mean, Zamir White could flop. He could flop.
The whole
really
point
could.
is that it's shocking. I'm not saying that I think that's going to happen. I'm saying that's
like
what
saying
my heart desires.
It's like saying Amir Abdullah is going to take the job.
Yeah,
you know exactly.
I'm
going to bench player, man.
Shout out to the big draft energy because he does a lot of his draft over on Drafters and the best ball tournaments there go an extra couple rounds. One of my favorite 20th round picks, Dylan Laube of the Raiders, because like you said, it's Zamir White and Alexander Madison. Madison is Madison. I think Zamir White is defined in his role, but Laube presents as like, you know, it's easy to make the comparison because he's the white running back, but he does have the skill set of a Danny Woodhead. And so when you have a differentiating passing skill set that Zamir White and Alexander Madison clearly obviously don't have, I think he can have like his own defined role, and just God forbid if anything were to happen to either of those 2 running backs, I think it just elevates him again up the depth chart. I'm saying it's a minor thing. This is the 20th round pick. You're not like betting the house on Dylan Laube here, but I think he can find his way to like just again like a passing role out of the backfield in the offense, regardless of Zamir White's presence. I don't think Alexander Madison is that much of an impeding factor there.
I mean, I would agree Dylan Laube is a potential sleeper. If White really does flop this year and becomes the next Alexander Madison or Mike Davis, someone like that, Laube could do something. But I'm going to go as far as say that Zamir White can't pass catch. You did say that. In the last 4 games, saw 4, 1, 6, and 2 targets. I mean, that's not elite, but that's a really relevant target share in this offense. So I wouldn't go ahead and just say Zamir White can't catch because that dude. Yeah,
it's not saying he can't catch. It's just obviously not his like primary skill set. I would say. No. Like I think he's very obviously more of a power back. And so that's where I'm just saying, like, this is not even me saying that I think Zamir White is going to be bad. I actually think, regardless, even if White is good, that Laube could still have a role. Because there is no offense in the NFL anymore that isn't really using 2 running backs at least. And the guy I'm fading in this offense is Alexander Madison. But it would be that's why I think everybody's doing that. That's why it'd be so fucking funny if he was the one that just turned out to be actually like good in this offense and fantasy relevant.
I mean, everyone thought that he was going to be top 4th round pick worthy last year, and a lot of people were very disappointed.
Oh, come on. Who just took that one? Jerry, Jerry ruined me. I was mad about that one. Dude, Shaheed. I'll tell you something about Rashid Shaheed real quick. I did the math. I entered everything into Scott Fishbowl, into Sleeper, the scoring settings. Rashid Shaheed was a top 15 receiver last year in Scott Fishbowl scoring. In this year's Scott Fishbowl scoring, he was a top 15 receiver because the return yards are absolutely insane. And also looking at this year with the new kick return rules, if he gets that kick return role again, he's going to be such a value. And I had him right up on my queue. I was going to get him. I really wanted to get him before, but I thought I could wait another round. You are a turd, Jerry B83, whoever you are. Don't like that.
Why didn't I get 2 picks? Was there another reverse?
Jerry,
Yeah, the I think it's every 3 rounds is the reversal.
No. It's only the first.
Only the
reversal,
first,
only
only the third round. Yeah.
Third round. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no more third round reverse left.
Only from second to third.
No, I thought it was 3rd and 7th, isn't it?
No.
No.
No,
I
no
got
more reverse.
Keon Coleman, then it auto drafted Rashi Rice, and then I didn't get right.
No,
She
that
was
might be
facts.
my fault because I thought there was. I do have it set it up for the 7th round reversal because I
How
thought
do
it
you
was
do
3
that?
and
How do you do that?
No, you don't have it. It's right.
No, it's right.
It's right.
do I? I'm looking at 7-1 and then 8-12 right underneath for Hutch's picks.
Yeah. He had the first pick of the 7th and the last pick of the 8th. Then he
Yeah.
has the first
Yeah.
pick of the 9th on the turn. It's
Wait,
right.
You want to look?
Wouldn't he have
Yeah.
had the last of the 7th and the first of the 8th.
No. It's good, dude. I promise.
No,
you.
we're right. No, we're right. It's just the third round that switches, and then that's it. There's no more. There's no more switching after that. It just goes through.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, okay.
I like
no,
the
see what you
Devontae
guys
pick,
said.
man.
I'm confused as well.
Oh no, that was an auto pick. Never mind.
It's gonna be fun seeing how far he drops.
oh,
'cause
Who's got the
that's-
cops chasing them, guys? Who's got the police after him?
I think Bryce Young is being crazy undervalued in a super flex league. Like all they did was add another wide receiver, 1 theoretically, another running back, 1 theoretically, another tight end, 1 theoretically, and add Deontay Johnson. Still have Adam Thielen. Like what? Why wouldn't Bryce Young take
Here's
a
my
step
returner.
forward?
Good sleeper. JC, I like it.
That's my returner pick. He's my returner.
I like it. Yeah, that's your returner pick. I like it. It's good.
Just taking a little swing
Yeah,
and
the Mims pick.
hopefully. I love Marvin Mims, dude. I thought he was going to take off last year, but
Yeah.
that team didn't do it.
I'm looking honestly though, like the thing is though with the kick returners, like you're looking at a situation this year because everyone, I don't know if people remember, the kick return thing was changed this year so that
Oh yeah.
it's going to I don't know, I don't want to get into all the rules here, that would take a while, but it encourages teams to return kicks. It encourages it and it forces it so that kickoffs are going to be fun now and it's going to be very interesting. And also, a lot of people much smarter than me have said that the injury risk is now significantly declined on a kick return if you're actually returning a kick. So that means that teams might be more willing to send their bigger players out there. Like you might see Jalen Waddle or Devon Achane returning kicks this year. And it makes it interesting because you want to think about when you're drafting these players, like, oh man, are these guys quick? Can they do yards after catch? Like, are they going to be able to sustain that? Because maybe their team wants them to return kicks. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but like Justin Fields might actually return kicks this year. He's been doing it in practice. Arthur Smith, we know what Arthur Smith can do in offense. We saw it last year. He can do some crazy stuff. He gets creative with it. He might put Justin Fields back there. So it makes some more players like, talking about Marvin Mims. I talked about Shaheed earlier. You could talk about Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, these guys that could potentially return kicks for their teams. It makes those players a lot more interesting because it's not just like an extra few. It's 5 yards for every point. Like that is a lot. That is significant fantasy production. And then 10 points for every touchdown you get. Like that's significant production that you're getting there.
That one hurt. Christian Watson here hurts my soul because he's basically probably the biggest reason I didn't advance past. I think I got to quarterfinals or semifinals last year in Scott Fish, and Christian Watson really is the guy that tanked my team down the stretch. But in the 11th round, I'll take the shot on him here. Who, if you guys had to pick someone that like really disappointed you last season that you would be willing to take this year, who's the first name that comes to mind?
Nick Chubb, and I took him.
Joe Burrow, and I took him. Well, I didn't take him this year, but I'm saying Burrow.
Nick Chubb got injured again.
Like
I know he did. He was my favorite last year. I was so on him.
Oh yeah, I had him. Look, Yvette, shout out to you and the Browns. I had Nick Chubb everywhere last year. That was the devastating injury to him, my career, and his career and my fantasy teams.
Yeah.
Mine would be
but,
Kendra Miller. I
Yeah,
like
see,
Kendrick.
that's more of
Kendrick.
one where it's like he was present a lot of the time. He just didn't come through for you. Christian
No,
Watson.
he was gone. He was injured, man. That kid struggled with so many injuries, and even before the season, during the season, there were a lot of injuries.
Didn't he come back towards the final stretch?
He did. He came back and he wouldn't do tons. Yeah, he came back during the final stretch. Yeah, he made a couple plays though. I actually went back recently and watched all the film, every touch he ever had last season. He showed some flashes. They were just thrown on the radar because he was injured so much and he had disappointed in the first half so much that people just forgot about him. But that dude flashed in the second half of the season. He had some really solid plays. So if Kamara really is old and busted this year, if he kind of hits that cliff, which he has slowly been declining over the last couple of years, I'm quite excited to see what Kendrick Miller could do this offense. He could be the lead back by the end of the season because he can catch the ball too. Everyone forgets he can catch that football. He's really good at it when given the opportunity.
Yvette, what about you? Was there anyone that really hurt you last year that you're willing to go back in on this year?
A lot of people hurt me last year that I'm gonna get back in on. Let's go with Joe Mixon with the change in team. I think that, and not that he wasn't good on the Bengals.
Yeah,
I think the change in scenery could be really good for him, though. We saw what Devin Singletary did there last year.
Number 45 overall player last year.
You felt ashamed of yourself picking a Bengal, didn't you? I could see the look in your eyes. You felt embarrassed.
Now he's a Texan.
Not as embarrassed if I would pick a Steeler like George Pickens before Amari Cooper. But I'm never going to get off this hill. I actually tweeted it or X'd it. And I think that what my problem with anything in this sport, fantasy football, is that I'm so emotional and I get emotionally involved and I don't think like how you guys think, which I need to. Like Amari Cooper, I'm like a mom, like, how dare you say Stephon Diggs before Amari Cooper because that's my team, you know? But a lot of people, I kind of agree they would take Stephon Diggs. I'm still going to say at the end of the year, we'll come back to see it. I think Amari Cooper is going to surprise you guys. But because I think Deshaun Watson's going to be good this year. So if I'm going to believe in that, then I do believe in Amari Cooper.
I'm going to spend, you know what I'm going to do this year? Go ahead.
Was that Aaron?
No, I was going to say, I know what my goal at the expo is going to be this year. I'm going to spend the entire night drinking and making her say Cooper. Cooper, I love it. I just want to hear it all night. It's hilarious. It abuses me. I don't know why.
Listen, you had me at drinking.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah. No, the expo is going to be lit. I can't wait. I've got everything booked up. I'm coming in hot Friday afternoon.
I'll be there Thursday.
I don't remember any of the night except for the pictures that made it on X or Facebook or whatever. Most of the weekend is just a blackout.
Well, that's okay.
We are finally in the last round of this little shindig here.
So I know we have kickers here. I probably wouldn't have taken a kicker, but I know sometimes sleeper makes you fill it out. But I probably would have taken a kicker later. But McPherson is a good kicker, especially with the extra points. So I'll go ahead and take him there.
Dude, that's why I took Aubrey. I took him in the 10th round in the first one. I'm like, man, if I can wait this on to 12, I'll be happy with the guy who finished number 45 overall player last year in Scott Bishwell for scoring. So if I can get him in the 12th round, that is a 4th round guy basically in scoring. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, I'm taking my guy Chase Brown here.
Jerry said no kicker. And I'm fine with that because I'm probably going to do the same thing because obviously this is like a shortened version of what would be the real Scott Fishbowl draft. I'm less the guy that's going to go grab like the Aubrey, the Tucker, the McPherson. Like I like to get the overlooked guys that I still think can crack top 10. So like one of my favorites is always Kaimi Fairbairn. Nobody likes him, but he's just awesome every year. So I'll usually just grab a guy like that instead.
I drafted Cade York really early last year. It was my first time in the Scott Fishbowl, and I knew kickers were like a thing, which was crazy because kickers are not supposed to be a thing, but then you guys are bringing them back. So I was like, and Cade York, was like known another Cleveland Brown for like kicking like long. He thought it was horrible. It was like such a weird pick.
So There are 3
Yvette,
picks
I'm
left.
sorry.
There's still some good quarterbacks on the board that I think can be something good for you, especially in Superflex. I think game 3 should be a goal. You have McCarthy, Smith, Carr, May, Nix, Minshew. Those quarterbacks that could actually be good. Geno Smith was a top 10 quarterback not too long ago, and he's not even drafted in 13 rounds here. So,
And I want to add to that list.
Because Houston's gonna be good.
Go
And I
ahead.
want to add to that list as well to the quarterbacks. I took him. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I took this player. I took Daniel Jones. I know, obviously, we meme Daniel Jones in the NFL world, and he could be benched this year for Drew Lock. There's definitely a possibility for him. But I want to shout him out because specifically he can run the football. He's
Dude,
a
he got
really
Malik
solid.
Neighbors, too.
He's got Malik Neighbors now, and he's a really solid running quarterback. The dude can run. I mean, he had times where he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback over his career. He's had games where he's blown up for us. So if I can get this guy, at least maybe for the first half of the season, maybe a full 16, if he plays good enough to maintain the starting job in New York, and he gives me some rushing value, I'm going to take that all day in this scoring format that heavily favors the running quarterbacks. I'm going to take that value all day because the guys you named, while they're solid QB3s, most of those guys you listed did not have much rushing upside, and Daniel Jones does.
All right, Jack, I gotta go. My 9-year-old's decided he's going in the pool, and I should probably go before he drowns. So
Me too.
Go ahead.
My daughter's been putting here so good. I'm so proud of her.
thanks for having me, guys. I'll see some of you at the expo.
So much.
I'll be there, Aaron. See you there.
See you guys.
So now that Aaron's left, let's make fun of his team. No, let's just look at his team real quick. We'll go team by team. I'll pull up our teams, and then we'll pick one favorite after, and then we'll get out of here. Mahomes, Kelsey, chalk picks, I think, in the beginning. Marvin Harrison Jr., Justin Herbert, love it. A-Chain Cup, he kind of starts going running back, wide receiver. I like his team. I like his team a lot. Tyjae getting value. I'm not the Tyjae Spears guy, but I get it. Zach Moss, Zeke, Leggett at the very end there, and he got the kicker. All about that base. Let's go with Yvette. I really like Yvette's team in the way, and she took my guy Fairbairn at the end, which I love. So shout out to you. But you kind of got forced into the Jordan Love pick, but I think it really actually worked out for your team because you created some nice stacks and that double quarterback room. So 2 really strong quarterbacks. You
And
come
let me
back
just
at
say really
Kyron
quickly too about the 2 quarterbacks, just in case you were watching at the one. When I was going back, because I was actually debating to pick Jordan Love there, so that wasn't like a horrible auto draft where I was just like that could have happened in real life if the stress was there, because that all happens to all of us. Like we were drafting, and I would say Jordan Love. When I was going back to look, I'm happy I took him there because there was nobody else in the other spots. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with my team. Super Bowl, whoop whoop! All right, I have to go too. I hate to be that person, but my daughter's here too. I just want to say Happy Father's Day to everyone too before I.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's okay.
Right, bye, guys.
Super appreciate you joining. Thank you so much, Yvette. You have a great one.
Peace.
Yeah. All right, Ella.
They both got pools,
All right,
man.
let's go to yeah. Well, no, I get it because if my kid was here, I would be also trying to rush my way through. But I'm just fortunate that she's at her mom's this weekend, so I'm cool. I got the time. Let's look at JC's team. Let's scroll up here. So you got the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stack. I thought that was a solid beginning. Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, pretty solid picks, and you get your running backs. So this is the argument, I think, of waiting on the running backs. I do like Pacheco and Mixon as options in that 5th, 6th round. I'm not the T. Higgins guy, but I get it. I think there's a value this year where he was so expensive before, whereas you always had to take him the 4th, 5th round. In the 7th, I actually don't hate that at all. Deshaun Watson, don't mind that. Goddard, nope, that's the worst pick of all life. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. Dallas Goddard is the most mid thing that's ever existed. This man has never.
Dude, there's so many tight ends out there. It doesn't matter. Just a guy.
He's so bad. He's just pure name value on a good team that never produces. He's never even had more than 5 touchdowns in a season. I hate Dallas Goddard, and I hate your team. No, I'm joking.
don't
I
care.
actually like the team. I just the Goddard thing is one that I'm always going to tease people about.
He's like, I
but
liked
Nick
it. Then we got to Goddard, and I'm out.
I would have rather had Hunter Henry, honestly, his ADP, if you could have gotten Henry in the 12th, because he's very interesting with the lack of receiving depth on the New England
They're going to
Patriots
finish
offense.
the same. That's the thing. That's why I hate Dallas Goddard so much, is because I legitimately think him and Hunter Henry are like exactly equal in my mind.
Yeah.
But one
Hey,
is way
it's a new year. You never know. I'm just gonna go for whatever
the
happens.
Nick Chubb pick, I think, is a really good one, because even though there's like whisperings he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season, we kind of saw that same thing with Javonte Williams, who had also, it wasn't the exact same, but you want to talk about devastating injuries that people thought were going to take a lot longer to come back from. So, if you get that boost from Nick Chubb, even if it ends up being kind of the last 8 to 10 weeks, I don't hate that coming out of the 10th round. And then you get Marvin Mims, who's the sneaky kick returner upside. You get your kicker, which is in Scott Fishbowl going to be huge. And then Chase Brown, sleeper RB. I think he's got potential. He could definitely outpace Zach Moss. We could see that happen. And see, you're Shadow Cat, right? Am I crazy? That's you.
Nope, that's it.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. We'll save Hutch's touch for last, since he was at the last pick. So Breece Hall and Anthony Richardson. My only thing with Anthony Richardson is he has to stop running face first into NFL linebackers, and once he does that, he'll be a great fantasy quarterback. But Dalton Kincaid, love that pick. He's like the guy in that offense now in terms of like receiving option. Trevor Lawrence, I think, bounce back season, definitely possible. Michael Pittman, Najee Harris. So Najee Harris is an interesting one. Let's stop here real quick, because I actually agree with you. And I got burned by Najee last year. And people are very debating, like, is it Najee or Jalen Warren? What do you guys think? Is it Najee or Jalen Warren? So SC, obviously you took Najee. We'll say you think it's Najee. JC and Hutch. Let's start with Hutch.
I would personally go with Jalen Warren. Honestly, I think he's the more, like, if you want safe, Najee's fine. That's totally there. But honestly, with Scott Fishbowl, it's a big, big, big tournament. I want upside, and Jalen Warren's got it, man. He's explosive. He's athletic. He's a better pass catcher than Najee. He's just been better at Najee last year than at almost anything. He was better than at almost every level last year. He's a tad undersized, but if he were to continue doing what he did last year, he'll be the lead back by the end of the season. And I would prefer Jalen Warren, especially his ADP, which is less than Najee Harris. But I get it, though. Harris has been a 1,000-yard rusher each year he's been in the league. He's going to get that carry volume, which in Scott Fishbowl is going to be nice. But I think the upside lies with Jalen Warren. So personally, I would want Jalen Warren. But it's very close. It's a fair debate. It's very fair.
I think what I see here is like, what do we see with a really big veteran quarterback, right? With Roethlisberger, Najee Harris, absolutely 8, right? He got that check downs. I think if Russell Wilson is the starter most of the year, Najee's going to eat. I love me some Jalen Warren. I think he gets the upside from, opportunities. When he goes in there, he makes big things happen. But if Najee gets the checkdowns from a veteran quarterback coming in, into a new system, I think that he could get that upside. Najee was like top 12 from year one, right? As a rookie, and he was an absolute stud with Roethlisberger, who was just like ready to, check down. He's like that, end of the year, like end of his career, like I'm just going to throw the ball to somebody who I can depend on, who's just going to do something after the run or after the catch, right? And that was Najee. So if Russell Wilson's the starter, I think that Najee has a lot of upside in the beginning of the year. So I would
just counter back a little bit and say Warren did out target Najee 74-38 last year. So I feel like if they're going to choose a dump off man, it's Warren. He's the better pass catcher of the two. But
there's a new OC there too. That's a big part in it. You have a new OC and Arthur Smith there who likes to run the ball, and they build up the offensive line to run. So I think that's where it comes into Najee. doing it. He can still be a pass catching back, and they really didn't do anything to extend the ball, to stretch the field this offseason. They brought in Roman Wilson, George Pickens is your guy, with Russell or Justin Fields. I think they want to play closer to the chest, so you're gonna have your bigger body guy and Najee Harris be that lead toucher. Warren is explosive, don't get me wrong. He's a value pick. He's someone that comes push this up. I'm probably gonna try to cuff it with him, but I definitely like Najee's upside this season in continuing on and knowing this could possibly be the best offensive line he's had since he's been in Pittsburgh. And they have the OC that really kind of groomed Henry into being that workhorse back as well. And Najee is that same size. So I really like him, and he's a better pass catcher. So I think that'll be a huge side for him there.
I think that Jaylen Warren, kind of benefited from having that young quarterback, right? He comes into third downs, and right, what does your young quarterback do when he's in trouble? He checks down to his running back, especially in third downs when he's getting rushed, right? I think that's where Jaylen Warren kind of, benefited, right? He got a lot of those yards after catch because you got this guy getting rushed and throws the ball. So I think when you have this, these veteran quarterbacks come in, they've been playing for a long time, and you kind of saw that, with the end of the career, Ben Roethlisberger, right? He's got his big back, big target he can kind of throw to, he can depend on there in the first downs or second downs, and I think that's what you're kind of going to see here from Russ. But if you get Fields in there, it's going to be a totally different thing, right? You're going to see Fields running the ball a lot, so you don't even know who's going to be the better running back at that point, right? It's probably going to be, at that point, it might be,
That's where I'm like, I think I agree with everyone here, where it's like, if it ends up being Fields, I agree. I think I agree a little bit with Hutch, where I want kind of that explosive upside. And then if it ends up being Russ, I want the plotter, because that's what's going to fit in the Arthur Smith offense. Let's finish off the rest of your picks, and then we'll move to Hutch's team. Christian Kirk, I like that as a bounce back. His injury wasn't as big as I think people remember, like, because it was season ending. You get this idea of like, oh, it was real bad, but it actually wasn't. It was just like a groin injury, and they were like, well, we're kind of sucking anyways, so we're going to shut him down. But he should be fine for beginning of the season. Cold ass McConkey, I like that pick. Tony Pollard, Dalton Schultz, Bryce Young. I love Bryce Young for a bounce back season. You get a kicker, McFearless, and then Dotson to round things out. So I really like the way you constructed your team as well. And then we'll finish up, like I mentioned, with Hutch. Got the Kyler Murray, Trey McBride stack, which was one of my favorite stacks actually early on in best ball before they started driving up those ADPs on me. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, that's chalk. That's just, guaranteed production. I love that. Jaden Daniels, I like the risk and the upside there. RG3 2.0. Mike Evans, Tank Dell, love that.
Hopefully
Zamir
not.
White.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, exactly. Hopefully get parts of RG3, eh? Zamir White, I like that. Worthy, like that. Jonathan Brooks is the only one that I'll fight you on, really.
Do not talk bad about Jonathan Brooks.
Go ahead. Fight me on Jonathan Brooks. I'll get. What do you got?
It's in mid form. I love him in Dynasty, right? But in redraft, they've already said he's not going to be ready for. So you are going to have to eat that and really hope that he comes on strong. And it's like when he does get there, he's still running behind the same offensive line that Miles Sanders was last year.
I don't know.
Except he's a lot better than Miles Sanders at everything.
Miles Sanders is trash. I think you're more like Chuba is more like
Chuba Hubbard even still.
He's better than Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard did well, but I think people, again, overrate because when you get a guy off waivers and stuff, you're happy to get any production, but he wasn't a world better than
Miles. Like Miles is trash. Chuba's actually did pretty decent last year for the amount of touches that he got. Miles Sanders is actually like he's the three. Like he's not. There's no way he's gonna. If Jonathan Brooks is out there, he's gonna be the one. Cut. Chuba will be the two. Yeah, and Miles will be the guy in the back. Like,
but I agree.
My
Brooks,
argument.
The talent is the talent with Brooks. I mean, I think Brooks starts week 3 or 4, and the upside from now is RB1. It's RB1 caliber from when he starts. Like he has that potential to be.
But when does he start? Is my question. Do you guys have kind of a general idea? Are you more in tune with? You think by week 4 he's already there?
Yeah, well, I think he's already on pace, man. He's already on pace.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the timeline, his injury, he's The timeline of the ACL injury, it looks like he's going to be around like the first month of the season, right? And that's what we were looking at for Breece Hall last year. We were looking at Breece Hall. It's like, okay, he's probably going to make the training camp stuff. He's probably going to do that. And look what Breece Hall did for fantasy last year. Started off a little slow, absolutely did. But towards the end of the season, it really caught on, even with poor quarterback play. And then Jonathan Brooks as well, when you look at him, I'm specifically excited for him because, I mean, one, he's by far, it's not even close. He's the best back in this backfield. It's not even close. He's
Didn't he
the
sit
guy.
behind Bijan? He sat behind Bijan, right? At Texas? Is that where
He sat behind Bijan at Texas. That is
Yeah.
correct. But in this Panthers backfield, in the Panthers backfield, he's by far the best back. Not in Texas. In the Panthers backfield, he's by miles the best back. And I'm really excited about the new coach. I am really, really excited about what Dave Canales is going to do here because Dave Canales last year gave Rashad White a ridiculous target share. And he's already been talking about using Jonathan Brooks as a pass catcher. He's already talked about it. And Jonathan Brooks, we know, can catch the football. He was an elite pass catcher in college out of the backfield. And if they were to give Jonathan Brooks that kind of target share towards the back half of the season, there is RB1 upside here. Towards the back, I would not be surprised at all if we're ranking Jonathan Brooks as a top 8 running back next season. It would not shock me in the slightest. So I want to have that second half Jonathan Brooks. So I'm very happy taking him in the 9th round. Because here's the thing. If he flat out sucks a lot of the season, or if he flat out busts me, he's a 9th round pick. Yeah, I'm not depending on him in any way, shape, or form. There's no dependency here. The only thing you got is upside for Jonathan Brooks. So I'm looking at him thinking, man, he's a supremely talented back. Yeah. He is easily the best back in his offense. You got a coach who loves to use the running back as a pass catcher. We know Jonathan Brooks is a good pass catcher. We have potentially a better offense here. If Bryce Young were to really take a step forward, if the receiving room were to upgrade, if the additions to offensive line will really help out, we have a potential upgrade in offense here. All Jonathan Brooks needs to do is be healthy. That's it. That's all he needs to do. That's the one thing. If Jonathan Brooks was healthy, like if there was no ACL tear, I'd be picking him as a top 12 running back this year. No hesitations. Yeah, but the injury would make him an RB2 for me, but I'm very happy with him in the 9th round.
Yeah, talent's absolutely there, man.
I also love the running back, to be honest. Blake Corum, I think, being underrated. Like, anything happens to Kyron Williams, Blake Corum immediately steps into RB1 territory in my mind. So I love that pick. I think the one people are going to get on you a little bit about is the Daniel Jones pick towards the end there. And I get it because I was burned by it last year, but I'm in with you on 12th round Daniel Jones making a little bit of a comeback this year with Malik Neighbors. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that Danny Dimes pick, slipping it in at the end there.
And there's so many quarterbacks left, and by the next round, you could have grabbed somebody else too to just kind of step in and just in case. So, I mean, I like the upside play, the upside pick. Malik Neighbors is going to be there. They got Theo Johnson that might step in, right? And, that I just think that the opportunity is there.
Well, we just lost Hutch, but that's okay. He might sneak back in for the end. But there were a couple other teams that caught my eye. I was definitely looking at Jerry B. I really like the start. Lewis Oil, even though they got auto drafted for like the entire draft, somehow still. And I hate when the auto draft team ends up with a sick team. It's like you don't deserve that thick team that you got. But there's definitely some problems when you get Diggs and Collins on the same team and Jaylen Warren is your RB2. But I think the team that I wanted to highlight is actually towards the beginning here. Shout out to my boy Streets. Way back in the day, back in these fantasy streets, me and my guy Streetsathon here, we had a dumb little podcast where he was the brains and I was the other guy. And that was probably the first fantasy podcast that I ever did. And it was like on a channel that like me and the guy butted heads and it ended up blowing up. But me and Streets stayed connected because he's just an absolute mensch. And I also love the way that he built his team here. So he starts with Lamar Mandrews stack out of value, getting Mandrews at 210. And then he comes back and gets Kyle Pitts. So he gets 2 premier tight ends. And then Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, Debo. And then he gets James Conner, Baker, Raheem the Dream, JSN, and then Ford and Singletary, and ends up the only thing is he gets another tight end in Conklin. I think he would have really had like an almost perfect mock if he took like a third quarterback or maybe like a kicker or a returner, like something like that. But I really can't complain too much. I think he had an excellent draft as well, so I just wanted to highlight him.
Baker's a potential sleeper and Singletary. Great ended draft picks there.
Yeah, I got sniped on that, dude. I had Baker in my queue, and I got sniped on that pick. So thank you for that. That's why I had to go with Deshaun Watson.
I'm not mad at that either, though. Watson, that's
you're just injury. I don't know, ego getting in the way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Baker's like, he's like, I'm trying to get back to that, his little sauce thing. He's trying to get back to that swag. And like last year, man, he tore it up, man. He had a lot of fun games at the end of the year. You're like, man, he could be fun to watch next year.
And they really still got him pass catchers too.
Yeah, I mean, it's the potential's there to be big. So I mean, I'm like, Baker that late. I mean, Deshaun Watson, you're like the upside. We knew Deshaun Watson in Houston. 3 years in a row, number 5 quarterback. Like that's the consistency you want. Like, all right, I'm guaranteed to have a 5th overall pick or 5th overall quarterback at the end of the year. I love that. But now what do you play? Like 6 games last year and 6 games the year before? Like, it's rough.
The only other guy too, Uncle Mercy here, I noticed had a triple tight end build that was interesting, but failed to lock down that second quarterback. So this is actually, I just want to point this out because this is the danger that you take of playing that game of if you're punting a certain position, you could end up getting caught where it's like, well, now Sam Darnold is your quarterback too. And there were other quarterbacks, I think, that were still available. So I'm not going to be the one reaching on Sam Darnold. I think that's hilarious. I think people are just reacting to June news because we're bored. I don't think he is starting over even McCarthy, to be honest.
He will for sure.
But because of your point there, that's why it took Bryce Young.
I don't even care which one of them it is. I would literally rather have like Geno Smith and then like get Sam Howell for free off waivers to back it up. I would rather have the Raiders quarterbacks. You can draft Minshew and then pick up Farva, which is what I call Aiden O'Connell. You pick them up off waivers, pair those two together. I like getting Fields and Russell Wilson super cheap, pair those guys to get. Like, there's other quarterback rooms if you're going to play that game that I would rather have. And in the rookies, give me Bo Nix because who's going to start over him? Jarrett fucking Stidham? Like, no, probably not. And he's got Troy Franklin. I think it's underrated that they brought in Nix and Franklin together, who were just producing at the college level. And the whole thing of like with quarterbacks and wide receivers is trying to build that chemistry. It's like, well, if you have the chemistry already built in when you come in, like I think that's a little bit underrated. I think he gets roped to start most of the season. And then you want to talk about a guy who gets roped to start most of the season. Drake May, almost no matter what happens to me, they're not going back to the fucking Bailey Zappi well.
What? I love Zappi.
I love Zappi too, but that's to me strictly like we fucked up and May got hurt. I don't see any way that they're like, yeah, we drafted Drake May top 5, but we're gonna start Bailey. They're not gonna do the Mac Jones thing to Drake May again, is what I'm saying. So
hey, for Bo Nix and Franklin, say it louder for the people in the back.
Dude, yeah, I think that's an fucking underdog and drafters sleeper stack that I've been getting laid in my drafts is Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. So yeah, definitely shout out to those guys and shout out to you guys. We made it all the way.
You, Jack. Shout out to you.
Hour and a half. This is the movie now. We feature film. We did it. Shout out to all 215 people watching. We lost some people along the way. Yvette M. LeBoy. Make sure you guys go follow at Yvette M. LeBoy, Bougie Sports. Make sure you go subscribe. She has an awesome channel. She is the queen of Cleveland sports. I absolutely love Yvette and her channel. Shout out to Hutch, Hutchinson Brown, one of the youngest, best up-and-coming fantasy analysts in the game, has a show with Luke Sawhook, another young up-and-comer. And the show is called Hooked on Fantasy. You can find it Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. So make sure you go check those out. SC, I'm going to let you take over for my guy, Aaron.
Yeah.
I have a lot of love for Aaron St. Denis, FF Mad Scientist. Make sure you guys go follow him. But he is now officially part of the FF universe, which you also are a co-owner. So I'll let you take it from here. Tell us where we find you, Aaron, and the universe. And then JC, you can take it over right after. Give us the breakdown for Sports Affiliate.
Yeah, man, appreciate you having me on. Always fun. You know, we do our wrestling thing. We talk wrestling and, fantasy football too. So best of both worlds there. Follow me and Aaron, at the FF Universe, thefantasyfootballuniverse.com. We have tons of content, daily videos going out, breaking news, fantasy minute, Debbie things, everything you want for a fantasy perspective. We're breaking it down for you. Me at the PPR, so on X, where you can find me talking wrestling, IDP, Debbie, all that good stuff, man. We're here for it. Nah, Jack, I appreciate you having me on. Scott Fish, I think the first round is similar to what we see. Everything else, I don't expect any of that to happen. I think you're getting different drafts, right? So people are going to go crazy with it, but definitely a fun time doing anything Scott Fishbowl. So appreciate you having me.
Yeah, I agree with that too. First, I mean, if you're in a live draft, it's way crazier, man. It's super crazy, because it's fast paced. If you're doing a slow draft, you take a little time. But, I'm going to tell you, last year when I was there, they had Ian Fish was there, dude. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he didn't like your pick, dude, he was out there talking shit about your pick, scratching your name off, all sorts of stuff, man. It was pretty crazy getting, talk shit to by an 11-year-old. So, I mean, it was wild. But hey, I'm JC Money. You can find me at the Sports Affiliation, at the Sports Affiliate on Twitter. At JC Money to Sign on Twitter is my handle. But yeah, I mean, what we got going on, our whole community is built on, inclusiveness and positivity. We want everybody involved, and we don't like that hate. We don't like those them trolls. We just like to keep it positive, keep it fun, and that's what we do. But we got a lot of things going on. You can find us on YouTube. We just finished up with basketball. It could be tonight, could be the end, but we've been doing a lot of basketball stuff, got a little bit of baseball stuff, but a lot of fantasy football stuff. Got the Discord going. Follow us on our Discord. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna be at make sure if you're going to the expo, booth 14, man. That's where we're gonna be at, booth 14. Come find us, Sports Affiliation. Hey, and also we're doing a lot of things now with drafters. So if you want to get involved on drafters, if you like drafting, I know Jack's been on there a couple times doing some drafts, but I did a golf draft for the US Open. I got to check it out, but I don't know how I finished. I think I did pretty well, but we'll see. But yeah, if you like drafting, man, never ever not drafting. Like my guy Troy Polamalu, never not working, never ever not drafting. Let's go, baby.
Man, thank you guys once again so much for coming on. Just one last time also for the people out there still watching, please make sure you go over to Scott at ScottFish24 and at FantasyCares.org. Make sure you guys go drop a donation on Father's Day. They are matching donations today. They're trying to get to $2,500 goal. So please go make a donation. And I super appreciate you guys coming over here. I want you guys kick that subscribe button, share the show. I'll share it, repost and everything. Again, JC, SC, Yvette, Hutch, and Aaron, who aren't here anymore. Thank you all so much for coming to this party. And until the next time, I will catch everybody on the flip side.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man. Here comes